Injury news and FA Cup results have revealed the best way we should be playing our chips in the final part of the FPL season. And in today's team selection video, I'm going to share with you my 2 wildcard drafts I have ready for game week 30. So let's take a look at them in today's team selection video. It's been such a long time since I sat down and recorded an FPL video, so it's super nice to be back. Of course, for game week 29, I was on a little bit of a holiday to Berlin with the lads. I drank many steins, ate many bratwursts, and of course, doner kebabs. But we are here and we're back for game week 30 with a double wildcard draft, one with Haaland and one without. Of course, I'll be making weekly videos all the way until the end of the season now, so make sure you go ahead and click that subscribe button if you aren't yet subscribed to the FPL Mogs YouTube channel. Now, the news we've had in the last few days has been a little bit overwhelming for some people, so I'm going to try break it down as much as possible just before we get stuck into the draft, so you have an understanding on why I'm picking the players I'm picking. So, for the FA Cup results at the weekend means in game week 33, there's potentially going to be double game weeks for Arsenal, Villa, Crystal Palace, and of course, Manchester City. We already know we have confirmed double game weeks for game week 32 for Palace and Newcastle. So keeping those things in mind, that's going to dictate who we pick on our wildcard drafts and why we go with certain chip strategy. Of course, you might have more chips than me. I only have my wildcard and bench boost left. But overall, for my team, this is how I'm going to be lining up for a draft with Erling Haaland. Now, the reason I've got 2 drafts, one with Erling Haaland and one without, is pretty clear if you've seen this video. So, after the FA Cup fixture at the Vitality Stadium, Haaland appears to be coming out with a moon boot and crutches, so it really doesn't look great for his overall fitness and availability for game week 30. However, we do have a press conference tomorrow from Pep Guardiola, so I will be looking at that, watching it, and on the deadline stream tomorrow afternoon, of course, I will relay any information I learned from those press conferences. But to start off, this is the draft I'm going to be going with if Erling Haaland is available. Like I say, it's probably unlikely it is, but if there's that small chance he is available, he's definitely the player I would rather have than Marmoush. Now, there's going to be a lot of similarities between these 2 drafts and players that will feature in both. For example, Alexander Isak, Mateta, Kirkez, Eze, Salah, and potentially even Gabriel as well. They're all going to be players who feature in both of these drafts. So I'll try look at some other players and not spend too much time talking about them because I don't want to speak about them twice. In terms of why I've picked the likes of David Raya and Nick Pope is because of their likelihood of the double in game week 33. And of course, Nick Pope has double game week 32 and then 33 potentially. So a lot of games for Nick Pope coming up. Might be the case that Dubravka starts an odd game, but Nick Pope looks to be the favoured keeper now. And of course, after that final win, he's going to be a great favourite because he did make some important saves within that fixture. Of course, David Raya, I've had him on my team pretty much all season. He's been really great for me. The only slight change that I could possibly make to this draft is getting Gvardiol in. If I'm not really feeling Munoz for whatever reason, I could go ahead and go Gvardiol, sell Eze, and go for Ismail Assar. Now, the reason I haven't done that is because I really rate Eze quite highly, and he, of course, is going to feature in both of my drafts today. So, yeah, that's the reason I've went for Munoz instead of Gvardiol, because I just don't have the money or allocation in the budget to get him in. Same reason that Kluivert isn't in here and Semenyo is. There's just not enough money to go around. My team value is pretty decent, but it's not that great. Minte, a player who I really didn't expect to have within my wildcard draft, at this price point of 5.1 million, there's not a lot of value to be had within players. It's only Minte and I believe Ruta of Brighton as well that show me good value or good enough value to feature within a wildcard team because of that game week 32 fixture and the fact in game week 34 they play West Ham when a lot of teams, well, I say a lot of teams, the teams who double potentially in game week 33 will blank. Salah, I don't need to tell you why he's in this in the team, of course. We look to the bench just to skip over players like Haaland, Mateta and Isak because, again, I don't need to tell you why these guys are in. These are probably the forwards that everyone should be having on a wildcard draft. Burn, in terms of budget, again, at 4.4. I can't afford Livramento for 0.1 million extra, so Burn would then come in. Of course, the potential double in game week 33, and of course, double confirmed for game week 32. Agbadou of Wolves at 4 million. There's nobody else who really shows the value like Agbadou does. West Ham, Ipswich, Leicester in game week 34 when, again, 4 teams do blank. And then Archie Gray, a little bit of an outside pick. I don't think he would even start, but potentially in game week 31 with that Southampton fixture. It's not a bad punt really, but he's most likely going to be playing in defence or a little bit deeper in that Spurs side. So, yeah, this is the draft I would go with if Erling Haaland is fit and ready for game week 30. But let's now take a look in the next section of the video at my more than likely draft I'll go with Marmoush in instead of Erling Haaland. Now, as you will notice, Erling Haaland isn't in this draft and Marmoush takes his place. It makes a lot of sense with the fact that City probably double in game week 33 and, of course, have Leicester at home this week, which is a really, really great fixture. I mean, overall, the fixtures for City up until the end of the season are pretty good. So Marmoush would come in instead of Haaland, and that lets me get a little bit creative with the players I could potentially put in my team for game week 30 wildcard. You'll notice straight away, Bukayo Saka is in my team. We have had confirmed news that it is potentially going to be his first start back from injury against Fulham at home, which, you know, it's great to see because I love watching Saka play. And of course, in a wildcard draft, when you have that potential double game week 33 of Palace at home and Ipswich away, Bukayo Saka is going to be one of those guys that a lot of people have ready for that double game week. Again, very similar players across the board. It's only Guardiol who I can now afford with that Haaland money, and also Edison as well instead of Nick Pope. I do rate the Newcastle defence quite highly, but, you know, they're not as good as some of the top teams in the Premier League. They do concede quite a lot of goals. You could say the same for City, but they have looked a lot better in recent weeks. And with a double game week 33 of Aston Villa and, of course, Everton, I do quite like Edison for that. And, of course, I think he has a better fixture than David Raya this week with Leicester at home. So, across the board, pretty similar team. Eze, Ismail Assar and Mateta to complete the triple up on Palace. You have a triple up on Arsenal there for game week 33 as well. You have a double Newcastle at least for game week 32 double, as well as that triple Palace for game week 32 as well. You've got the Bournemouth assets for this week in particular against Ipswich at home, and of course West Ham away in the next week as well. We'll kind of run through a little bit of, you know, the future weeks and sort of transfers I could potentially make. You've got, you know, really great options across the board to sub people in. You might say Semenyo drops to the bench for Saka in this week when we know he's got some minutes under his belt. You've got Agbadou with Ipswich away from home, Leicester at home for Dan Burn. So again, you might drop the Bournemouth boys to the bench there. You might go ahead and say, well, Man United look a little bit better recently. Maybe City conceding this match. There's a lot of things you can do in this particular week, but we'll leave the team as this. Why not? We'll keep going for game week 32. Of course, you'll see there that, you know, things start to take place in terms of double game weeks for 32 with Palace and, of course, Newcastle. I think overall having, you know, 5 instead of 6 isn't the end of the world in terms of having players who double. So I quite like this team. Of course, Isak would probably be the captain for game week 32. game week 33 rolls around, this would be probably the week I would bench boost in my team. You've got 3 free transfers here. You might look to go ahead and get some more Aston Villa players and sell the likes of Isak, sell the likes of Semenyo and Kirkes, and just try fit in someone like Watkins. I mean, we'll run through it now while we've got time. Semenyo, you could look at Rodgers to fit in here. And then, of course, one more free transfer, putting someone like Kirkes, to anyone who doubles, really. Who could we go for? Luca Digne. Digne, there we go. And then bench boost active. You've got 1, 2 players who have single game weeks, the rest double game weeks. It's going to be a really fun week. So, yeah, overall, game week 30, this is the likely team I'll go for. Of course, on my deadline stream, we will finalize the wildcard draft. I'm probably going to change people tonight, and this won't be my final team. But of course, join me on my deadline stream tomorrow to look at my final team. But this is how I'm set up right now on my wildcard draft for game week 30. Now, tomorrow, of course, is the game week 30 deadline, and as always, I will be live on both TikTok and YouTube, so make sure you tune in for those deadline streams. And of course, if you have enjoyed today's video, make sure you drop a like, and if you aren't subscribed to the FPL Mugs YouTube channel, go ahead and click that subscribe button for future FPL videos and, of course, deadline streams. But that is absolutely everything for today's video. Thank you again so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye for now.